Hi everyone, this is Leah Bond, and I will be presenting on the role of the infection control nurse. We'll start with a role definition. What is infection control? Infection control refers to the practice of preventing both the development and the spread of infection in a hospital or other healthcare setting. Infection control includes processes such as hand hygiene, sterilization techniques, immunization, and management of infectious outbreaks within healthcare settings. So what is the role of the nurse regarding infection control? This diagram lists and depicts a few responsibilities of the infection control nurse. Number one, treating patients who have infection. So this can be in the hospital, in a community clinic, in a home health care setting, hospice setting, or even telehealth care setting. Secondly, there's analyzing infectious disease data, and this could be doing investigative work such as interviewing and gathering data concerning an outbreak among patients and staff in a hospital, and then working with epidemiologists and other scientists to analyze the data in order to figure out a possible causal source of that infectious outbreak. Thirdly, developing a plan for management of outbreaks. This includes identifying the most effective and the least expensive way for healthcare institutions to prevent and maintain and control infectious spread. For example, hand hygiene is a very cheap and effective way to prevent spreading microbes from one patient to another when providers are going to different patient rooms. The fourth responsibility listed in the diagram is education. Very important. This includes educating healthcare professionals and employee health about infection control. For example, ensuring that staff is educated on safety measures on how to avoid needle stick injuries, and also that employee health understands the process involved when an employee comes to them for such an injury. Moving on to the population of focus. So those in the healthcare setting would be considered the population, and this can be both healthcare workers as well as patients. So who in the population is most vulnerable? This would include patients receiving invasive procedures such as surgery. They're more likely to contract infection. And those receiving invasive devices such as Foley catheters or endotracheal tubes or being on a ventilator, they are again higher risk for contracting infections from these invasive devices. Elderly and children are also vulnerable, considering their less robust immune systems. And then healthcare providers who are working with patients who have bloodstream infections, such as HIV, if they get a needle stick while suturing a laceration, they are vulnerable for contracting that bloodstream infection. And then a bit of an overview of the nursing role of the infectious control nurse. The concept of infection control was established very early in the 1800s. One of the earliest recorded infection control policies was developed in Hungary in 1846 after physicians noticed that newborns and postpartum mothers were getting sick when they were cared for by physicians who had just come from autopsy chambers. A policy of hand hygiene was created, and they noticed that infection rates dropped after that policy was implemented. Another case in 1854, a British physician discovered that there was a cholera outbreak in London among the healthcare setting, and they discovered it was likely due to fecal oral mouth contamination. So these are just a couple of the starting basis knowledge of infection control. And then fast forward to 1950s, infection control in the hospital became more established after an outbreak of nosocomial Staph aureus infection. And it was realized that there was a need for hospital-associated infection control policies to be implemented. Then moving to the 70s, basic isolation precautions were developed, which eventually evolved into the categories that we know as the standard contact, isolation droplet, etc. precautions. And the nursing role in this historical process has been to carry out the policies and the precautions that have been developed and to help with the development of those policies and precautions and to educate healthcare professionals about the details and the importance of infection control within healthcare settings. And in order to carry this out, nurses typically work with an infection prevention committee, which can include nurses, epidemiologists, physicians, pharmacists, and other administrators. RNs often hold the title of infection preventionist, and it's typical for this type of nurse to have a background in epidemiology, clinical practice, and basic microbiology. The infection control nurse is expected to get a certification in infection prevention and control, and that can be obtained only after the nurse has been working for at least 2 years in a clinical setting. So the current status of infection control. Hospital-acquired infections are a prevalent concern right now. One source mentioned that around 5%, so that's about 1 in 20 patients admitted to the hospital, acquire at least one infection. The most prevalent infections include catheter-associated UTIs, surgical infections, ventilator-associated infections, C. diff, and bloodstream infections. These hospital-acquired infections lead to increased mortality rates of the patients, increased antimicrobial resistance, as well as increased costs in healthcare. At an attempt to reduce these issues, the infection control nurse can work with committees, as discussed earlier, as well as a branch of the CDC called the Division of Healthcare Quality Promotion. So the nurses work with these organizations in order to develop plans and policies that reduce the risk of acquiring infections in healthcare settings. And this may look like readdressing the healthcare workers' techniques of disinfection and sterilization. It could be holding seminars about safe and effective antibiotic prescribing, or it could look like reinforcing education with employee health about the management of bloodborne pathogen exposure cases. So how does Alaska compare to the rest of the U.S. regarding hospital-acquired infections? Here's data from the CDC website, most recent data from 2020. And the standardized infection ratio is a summary measure used to track hospital-acquired infections, and the goal is to have as low as possible standardized infection ratio. So in Alaska, central line associated bloodstream infections, there's no significant difference compared to the national average. C. diff, we are lower on average. Catheter-associated UTIs, we are about the same as the national average. Ventilator-associated vents, we are higher on average. And then MRSA, we are lower than the national average. And then promising prevention programs in Alaska regarding infection control. So the Alaska Infection Control and Prevention Advisory Council is a program established in 2009, and it's a collaboration between epidemiologists, infection disease specialists, pharmacy staff, public health staff, quality improvement staff, and healthcare consumer staff, who all work together to develop and implement nosocomial infection preventative solutions all across Alaska. The Alaska Antimicrobial Stewardship Collaboration and the Regional Anti-Biogram Project are organizations that educate and promote the appropriate use of antibiotics. So these two programs were created in an effort to decrease the amount of antimicrobial resistant strains in Alaska. In reflecting on infectious control nursing regarding prevention, it seems that they mostly aid in secondary and tertiary prevention, and this is because in the healthcare setting, patients and staff are already exposed to infectious disease. So secondary prevention would include reducing the spread of infection by hand hygiene, isolation precautions, etc., as well as screening patients for infectious disease, such as screening patients coming into the hospital for COVID, and then you must implement precautions according to whether they are positive or negative. And the tertiary prevention side of it would include treating patients or staff who do test positive for an infectious disease, and also creating and implementing policies and campaigns that reduce the spread of infection within the healthcare settings. Primary prevention would also come into play when infection control nurses educate healthcare staff and patients on how to avoid infection before they enter the healthcare setting. Here is my list of references, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.